I know a fat old policeman, he's always on our street. A fat and jolly red-faced man, he really is a treat.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on Chatting with Lady C. How are you today, Mum?
I'm very well, thank you, honey. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really well. Just a bit hot. It's very hot, actually.
It is, isn't it?
A bit unbearable.
Yeah, it's like Jamaican summer.
Yeah. Yes, when you come out of stores, it feels like you're coming into a tropical country. It feels that hot.
Yes.
And as a man, we have to wear these shirts. It's just unbearable. Looking smart for a video is just down shooting. But yeah.
Well, so you have some questions for me today, honey, don't you?
Yes, I do.
First of all, may I say thank you, everybody who was so wonderfully supportive about Misha's taking over from Leo. I agree. I think he's already doing a really lovely job, and I think he's going to get better and better.
Yes, everybody gets a bit camera shy at the beginning. It's definitely been a long time I haven't been on camera, so it does get a bit stressful. But yeah.
Well, you're doing very well, honey. Now, I gather you have a few questions for me.
So our first question is, love your videos. Hope this question is not too personal, but in which country was Misha raised? As I can't place his charming accent. No one can.
Would you like to answer it?
Well, yeah, if you want. So basically, I was born in Russia, adopted in Russia. And then I moved...
At 3 months old?
At 3 months old. And then I was moved from Russia to England from 3 months to the age of 9. From the age of 9, I was brought down to France. And from there, I stayed 10 to 11 years roughly. So that's where you get the little bit of the twang. You get a little bit of French, you get a little bit of English. And it's...
And a bit of Jamaican?
Yeah, a little bit of Jamaican. when I want to. Especially only with my friends, I would say. And that's where I would get that little accent from.
Yes, it's a mixture, isn't it?
Yeah, but like people really can't pick it up. No one can. But that's fine by me. I love my accent, so it's fine.
Oh, good, good. Now, next question, honey.
Yes. So for our next question, I myself have had moments as a biracial royal correspondent within this institution. He said, I'll never forget the moment an aide or a senior aide close to the Queen said to me, I never would have had expected you to speak like that. And that level of ignorance, I think, perhaps made it very difficult for Meghan.
Okay. So that is amid Scabies in an interview recently promoting racial hostility and trying to attribute racial prejudice to something that has absolutely nothing to do with racial prejudice. I find his comment very interesting because there is a difference between a senior aide and an aide. And he can't seem to make up his mind whether it was a regular aide or a senior aide, which would right there tell me that this might have been more an imagined rather than an actual incident that took place. Because he will have known as a royal correspondent whether it was just an aide or a senior aide. That's the first detail, and the devil is always in the detail that we need to catch him up on. The second thing is he is stating in his comment that he identifies with Meghan because he is biracial, which he is not. He is wholly Caucasian. So it is a total falsehood for him to say he's biracial. He's binational, but he is totally uniracial. That's the second, shall we say, embellishment. The third, and to me most important embellishment, is that he ought to know, and if he doesn't know, he's not much of a royal correspondent, that the aide was not referring to his colour, because aside from anything else, his colour is white, and the aide would not have known that he was a biracial because he's not. And therefore he is creating as is Meghan and as is Harry, trouble where none should exist. They are stoking the racial fires for their own selfish reasons, and I think it is truly objectionable, because the reality is, I know, and he damn well has to know as well, that what the aide would have been saying to him was, it is very unusual to find a royal correspondent who is publicly schooled. That is, for those who don't know the difference, public school is privately schooled. So the aide would have been saying to him, oh, it's really unusual for us at the palace to have a royal correspondent who is privately educated. Nothing to do with race. It is yet another overreach. It is yet again amid scabies and Meghan and all that lot trying to stoke the racial fires unfairly and unjustly. And I think it is really irresponsible. And I regret to say that I think the public should be very vociferous in its condemnation of behaviour of this kind, because there is no doubt in my mind that amid scabies has to know that he is not biracial and that the colour of his skin or his racial heritage had absolutely nothing to do with the comment, which elsewhere he has made the point that the comment related to the way he spoke and the fact that he was public school educated. So, yet again, we have these mischief makers trying to stoke the racist fires very, very irresponsibly, and quite frankly, I think rather viciously. So, next question, honey.
Yes, of course. So our next question for today is, my question is, will your book be coming out in an audiobook format?
Yes, my book has just come out in an audible format. It's an audio book now. It's being read by somebody called Lucinda Bell Howard, who's very good. I know several people asked that I read it, but I'm afraid it's not my milieu. You need to actually be properly schooled in the art of reading books. And there is also, I speak very slowly, as you know, and that would drive people mad because it's already a pretty long book. And I wouldn't be able to speed up enough to make the book acceptable.
Yes.
I just speak slowly and I can't go against the way I speak. And so she is a very, very fine audio performer. And so it's out is the answer. It's out.
Yeah, that's
so,
great.
So anybody who wants to have an audiobook can now get it.
That's great. That's great news for everyone.
Another question, honey?
Yeah, why not? So for our next question, it is actually quite a funny one. You sued Boris Johnson. Can you tell us why and what was the outcome?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. In 2004, now Diana Harrell's story, which had been published in America in 1998, was published in England. And when it was published, in those days, Boris was the editor of the Spectator magazine. And there is a columnist in the Spectator magazine called Tacky Theodorakopoulos. Tacky by name, tacky by nature. I had run across him once or twice. I was with a friend in Tramp. It must have been in the late 80s, early 90s. And when Gulu went to the loo, I could tell that he'd been clocking me and eyeing me for the whole evening. As soon as Gulu got up to go to the loo, he shot across the room and tried to hit on me. And I declined his offers, let's put it that way. Fast forward, 2004, I've written the book, it's published, it's been serialized in one of the top newspapers. In fact, it was serialized in the Mail on Sunday. And it's got a very good reception, and Tacky by Name and Tacky by Nature writes a column defaming me. Now, I have always felt that part of the problem was that I was one of the few girls who turned him down. Whether that is so or not is beside the point. He was completely out of line. He defamed me absolutely, completely, and I did what I always do whenever I am defamed. I ring up either the editor of the publication or his assistant. It doesn't matter if you get the editor or the editor's assistant, because an editor's assistant is usually almost as good and sometimes better than the editor himself. And I did my usual spiel, which always goes something like this. Hello, this is Lady Colin Campbell. You or your editor's publication, they have defamed me, and you have 24 hours in which to issue an apology and a retraction to be agreed by me, failing which I hand over this matter to my lawyers. 24 hours, not 24 hours and 1 minute, not 24 hours and 5 minutes, 24 hours. And they will sometimes, we'll get back to you. I say, I need you to understand very clearly, if it's not done within 24 hours, and they all know who I am because I have sued so many newspaper companies in the country that they, as soon as they hear my name, according to Justin Walford, who was a legal manager of Express newspapers, who I sued very successfully, he said, well, Lady Colin, I have to tell you, you were sorely underestimated by us. You are a formidable adversary. He said, and I have to tell you, people quiver and quake when your name is mentioned in Fleet Street. And I said, Justin, I'm glad to hear it. I said, I want them to more than quiver and quake. I want them to be completely terrified. They can say anything as long as it's true and fair. And if it's not, I'm going to wipe the floor with them. So that's just one of the many editors who, but that his opinion was representative. I don't remember anymore whether I got Boris or his assistant.
Yes.
But whoever I got an answer very quickly, which was, yes, they would give me an apology as I required, and they would give me a retraction. Because, I should have said, because my second part of the spiel is always, and if you don't give it to me within 24 hours, you are going to feel the full might of the law and the full force of my wrath. And I do not muck around, and I will hit you where it hurts, which is in your pocket. So 24 hours. And by the way, if it's not the editor, I say to the editor's assistant, you have 20 minutes in which to make up your lines. Goodbye. And I always hang up the phone having said goodbye. Never failed that they're back on the blower with, but anyway, so they were back on the blower as well. And they said, yeah, they would give me the apology and retraction. And it was not Boris who phoned back Whether I spoke to him or not, I don't remember now. But I do remember that it was not he who phoned back. It was the assistant who said that he had no objection to giving me the apology and the retraction, and of course they were going to take it down off the internet and blah, blah, blah. But he wanted to compile the apology because he's a writer. Well, I thought, you have some hell of a nerve. Who the hell do you think you are? I said, well, I'm a writer too. I said, and I would have to also be a fine fool if I had any editor decide that he's going to compile the apology. It's an apology that I require to be put in. I will compile the apology. And she said words to this effect, oh, well, you know, it's going to be a sticking point. I said, my dear, I couldn't give a continental damn. I said, you don't give me the apology. Now, that's fine. You will suffer the consequences. I said, this is going to cost the Spectator tens of thousands of pounds if it's not settled within the next few minutes. I said, and the longer it takes is the more it's going to cost them. I said, I couldn't care less whether it's done now or down the line. I said, it's just a matter of how much of your company's money Boris Johnson proposes to waste. They didn't do it. Of course, I sued. They had to give me the apology that I wanted. I compiled it. They also had to pay me damages because I made it clear that no apology. Not only do I hit them for damages, but I also hit them for legal costs. And as I point out to them always, you know, I don't have to, in the first and second instance, play ball with you. If you are being unreasonable, I don't have to suck salt. It's going to hit your pocket, not mine. I always point this out to them. Well, between then and when we issued proceedings, I wrote him one of my excoriating 3-page letters. I am notorious in certain circles for writing excoriating 3-page letters. And I will not say now what I said, because it was so vicious, and I purposely set out to be as wounding as I could possibly be, because at the time Boris was having a step out with somebody who I knew, and the whole matter was handled in the most indecorous manner. And I will not go into the whys and wherefores, because I have nothing against the girl, or indeed against Boris personally. I mean, so anyway, I wrote this excoriating 3-page letter.
Yes.
And I said in it, I said, if you think my reputation is like the da-da-da, 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 that you caused da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da to flush like so much feces down a lavatory bowl, you are going to live to think again. I mean, I was really as nasty as I could be. And you know, honey, nice as I can be, when I set my mind to it, I can also be pretty dreadful.
Yes, very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it. In life, you've got to be a good friend and you've got to be a good enemy as well.
Yes,
and
I
if
agree.
you're not, everybody rides a roughshod over you if you're in the public eye.
Especially steps right all over you.
They do, don't they?
They
And well,
much
you've
do.
seen it. You've seen it
Yes.
with over the years with people with me
Yes.
who thought kindness was weakness.
Yes.
So anyway, to cut a long story short, I wrote this letter, and when he received it, somebody who I know was in the office with him, and his reaction was completely extraordinary. And I used his reaction as a reason why I thought he would make a good prime minister. His reaction should have been, what a total bitch that woman is. Not a bit of it. He said, I've received the most extraordinary letter from Lady Colin Campbell. Yes. You know, she's a brilliant writer. I think we ought to offer her a column.
Yeah, that's really funny.
And the person to whom he said this said, well, the one person I would not recommend in these circumstances that you offer a column to is Ziadie-Campbell, because if you think she's swiping the floor with you now, wait until she's in action.
Yeah. That's really funny.
And so I completely, after I'd done that, he did not offer me the column. If he'd offered me the column, I would have eaten him alive, because it would have been wildly inappropriate. But it showed me he thinks outside of the box.
Yes.
In a way that is very resourceful. He's not bogged down by emotion. He's not bogged down by custom. He's not bogged down by expectation. He really is a very original thinker. And that was one of the comforting things to me when he was in the running to be Prime Minister, because I thought he will actually, whatever his failings, and he has considerable failings, be able to think outside of the box. Because I don't think a good leader has to be a particularly nice person. What they have to do is think outside of the box and do the best for their country that they can possibly do.
I agree.
And so that's my story with Boris Johnson. Oh, then fast forward, sorry, to wrap it up. So I sue.
Yes.
They have to pay me damages. They have to pay my massive legal bills, because, of course, my solicitors are one of the top firms in the country, and my lawyer is one of the top lawyers in the country. So I really gouge their eyes out mega bucks-wise, which is exactly what you want, because I've discovered with the press, if you don't hit them when they're in the wrong, where their pocket is,
they're going to keep on doing it.
They'll keep on doing it. But you have to be in the right.
Yes.
You can't be in the wrong, and you can't try to muzzle the press, and I would never try to muzzle the press. If they are being true and fair, even if the even if it's unpleasant, if the criticism is justified, absolutely, you must just grin and bear it.
Yes.
Anyway, fast forward, I am in Zedel.
Yes.
With Peter. I don't know if you were there that evening.
Deemer and I were there.
You were there.
Peter grabbed him on the table.
That's right. Oh, you remember.
And as a nice man, he got up, stopped his dinner, came and said hello to all of us. Yes. And he didn't need to after you suing him, but he still got up as a gentleman and came and introduced himself and said hello to everyone. There was Alexandra Sykes, Mark Sykes, Peter Coleman, Deemer and I, of course, and you.
And okay, and do you remember his wife Marina came as well? She was lovely.
I can't remember now.
She came as well. And so full marks to Boris, because he was just, it showed the man has character, and it shows he has gumption, and I actually took my hat off to him, because I mean most other people would never have done that.
No, they would have blurred everyone out, ignored you, and not even see.
So you were there.
Yeah, Deemer, all of us, everyone, we all went out for dinner. Yeah. So I do remember.
Oh, good.
I was actually going to bring it up.
Were you?
Yeah, you just let us go for it. So, and then you brought it up, so I was like, yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Well, so that's my Boris Johnson tale.
Yeah.
And, well, now I think we ought to say, honey, to everybody, anybody who wants to ask a question, please put it in the comments section, and it will be looked at and distilled, and wherever possible it will be answered. So any questions you'd like, please ask them, and we will do our best to answer them.
Yes, because we've been seeing that we've been getting questions on Twitter, Instagram, and even Facebook, but fortunately we're not always on that. We're looking at the comments that are on YouTube to reply to them. So if you keep on doing it on YouTube, we will have a look, and the ones that we like, we will reply back.
Okay.
As many as possible.
Well, thank you very much, Hadi.
No, thank you.
And thank you, everybody, and for the questions, and keep them coming.
Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.